Okay, welcome back, ladies and germs. In this video, we're going to be talking about pricing to sell quickly. Okay, how do we price things to sell quickly? First, let me set the stage. I really want you to internalize this idea that if you go out and you determine a property is worth $10,000, okay, you should be expecting to get 8 to 9,000 for it. All right, why is that? Is because people who list land at full market value are generally realtors, and they're generally asking too much for the property. This depends on the market, but for most cases, when we sell land, one of our value adds is that we're giving somebody a great deal. Okay. So not only can we finance it, we can do all this stuff, but we want to sell it below market value. So I love this graphic we created because it talks about kind of how long you can expect to wait to find a buyer. Right. So again, if you go buy a $10,000 property and you ask $10,000 or $11,000 for it, I'm going to guess that it's going to be on the market for 3 to 6 months. Okay. Again, this changes in areas, it changes on the price point, it changes just depending on the locality. But in general, if you list something at full retail, you're going to be competing with all the other realtors, all the other full market people who are just really trying to get the maximum. And at the end of the day, something I've learned with people who buy land is they want a deal, right? They want a deal. It's kind of like good old mom and pop, like Craigslist type thing. If you think about that, people really want to deal with Clint. They don't want to deal with a Way Land Company or Blackstone Capital or like any fancy name. They want to deal with Joe Bob down the street because two reasons. One, it's more personal. And two, they think they're getting a better deal. So for whatever that means for you, that's how we like to communicate. We don't like to say, oh, we're this big company, this and that. It's just Clint. It's just Joe Bob down the street. And if somebody answers the phone for me, oh, hey, I'm Clint's assistant. Right. It's like a personal family type thing is what we try and keep this to. And generally, all that to say, people are looking for a deal. They generally don't want to pay full market value. The sweet spot is going to be the 70 to 80% range. Okay. This is really where you can expect, if you're doing everything right, marketing in the right places, writing the right ads, to sell within 90 days. Not all the time, but for the most part. Okay. I just had one that went 6 months, so a little longer than 90 days, price below market value. But again, that's kind of a 5% one. For everything else, our average hold time is like 65 to 75 days. And it's because we sell most things in the sweet spot. Okay, let's go down here to quick sell. The reason that I want to talk about quick sell is because two reasons. One, it's an option. And two, you got to understand that when we buy land right, we have multiple exits. You can see that here. We can wait for full retail value. We can sell it quickly or at the sweet spot where we make the most money, but we also sell it in a reasonable time frame. But there's also this idea of a quick sell. Okay, when maybe you bought something for 30% of market value, 35 or 40, and you don't like the deal, or you don't want to sell it, or you need to raise capital for another opportunity, or whatever, a million reasons you might not want to take a property all the way through. What you can do is just be the first step in the investment cycle. Okay. The person who finds the deal can generally sell it to somebody, the investor who sells the deal, for about 50% of market value. Okay. Let me say that one more time. The person who finds the deal can generally sell it to the investor who sells the deal, right? If Clint buys the property and he sells it to Bob because Bob wants to make money on the property, Bob's going to want to buy it at around 50% of the market value. Okay. Same example of a $10,000 property. Let's say I bought it at 42% of market value. So for $4,200. And I decided, you know what? I need to put my money to work in a different deal, or maybe something changed, or whatever the case may be. Or maybe I just want to make a quick buck. I want to make a quick few hundred or $1,000. You can go find somebody like Clint or like Bob, the the hypothetical investor, who will buy the property with the intention of reselling it. Okay. And the reason that I call this a quick sell is because really, if you just go into Facebook groups, you go into my Facebook group, if you're in any of our communities, and you offer a property legitimately as around 50 to 60% of market value, there's a lot of people that would love to buy that. Sometimes myself included, just depends on our capital situation. But when you're looking to quick sell, you want to leave a ton of meat on the bone so that your targeted buyer, who's going to be an investor, can take it and add value, right? And then below 50%, just not really recommended that you do that. Hopefully never have to. Again, as of filming this, I've done almost 600 land deals, and it's kind of interesting to say I've never lost money on one of them. Most real estate investors think that's bullshit, but the truth is with land, you just have so many options to get out of the deal that even if you buy a deal that's not as good as you wanted it to be, oftentimes you have a lot of ways out. Maybe it just takes longer to sell, or maybe you flip it to an investor for just a quick buck. We still have never lost money. Now, if we cut even or come very close, absolutely. But the truth is we've never taken a huge 5, 6 figure, 4, 5, 6 figure loss on a deal, they've all been P&L positive. So anyhow, this is my lesson for you here on pricing to sell. Okay. Sweet spot 70 to 80% of market value. Okay. Again, takeaway, make sure you're using that in your underwriting. If you say a deal's worth 10,000, but really you want to sell it for 80% of market value, then it's worth 8,000, right? So keep that in mind. Don't choose comps that are just out of this world. Get a realistic look at what is the market value. You want to come in just below that, 10 or 20% below it. And that's the price you should use when you're underwriting to make sure a deal makes sense. Are you buying it at 50% of 10,000 or 50% of 8,000, right? Can definitely shade your numbers. So hope this video helps. This is how to sell your land quickly. See you in the next video.